In a quaint suburban neighborhood, adorned with festive decorations and the spirit of the coming new year, the Thompson family embodied the image of happiness. Anna Thompson, a diligent and kind-hearted woman, was busy in the kitchen, her hands skillfully occupied in preparing a sumptuous New Year's Eve dinner. Their laughter mixed with the sweet aroma of baking, filling their cozy house with warmth. The children, Lily and Jack, 8-year-old twins, were happily putting up the decorations, their faces lighting up with innocent holiday joy. Maxim, Anna's husband, was a man of charisma and success. He ran a thriving local business and enjoyed a good reputation in the community. However, that night he came home much later than usual, with irregular steps and one breath that reeked of alcohol. The clock had just struck midnight, and the Thompsons were about to toast the new year when the door creaked open, revealing Maxim's disheveled figure. But he was not alone. Clinging to his arm was Olga, a woman known in the community, but who never expected to be in this role, Maxim's lover. The atmosphere in the room changed palpably. Festive air turned cold, the decorations seemed to lose their shine, and the children's laughter was replaced by a deafening silence. Anna's heart sank. Her eyes, previously full of love and warmth, now reflected deep, piercing pain. With a trembling voice, he faced Maxim with words full of disbelief and betrayal. And the argument that followed was fierce and raw, echoing through the walls of their once happy home. In a fit of anger and poor judgment, Maxim made a decision that would haunt the family forever. He ordered Anna and the children to leave, banging his fist on the table and scattering the New Year's feast. Desperate and heartbroken, Anna pleaded. Maxim was adamant, blinded by his drunkenness and Olga's persuasive words. That night, Anna found herself on the street with her children in her arms, without money, without a home, and with a bleak and uncertain future. The night was cold. The stars were hidden behind a veil of clouds, as if nature itself was mourning the tragedy that had been unleashed. Anna, once a figure of strength and joy, stood there, lost and broken, her mind racing with fear and worry. How was he going to support his children? Where would they go? The questions were rushing through his head, like a relentless storm. When dawn broke, bringing with it the first light of the new year, Anna knew she had to be strong. She had to fight, not for herself, for Lily and Jack. The journey ahead was daunting, full of challenges and uncertainties, but Anna Thompson was not one to give up. With determination in her heart and her children's hands in hers, she stepped into the unknown, ready to face whatever awaited her. It was the beginning of a disaster that would test the limits of a mother's love, family's resilience, and the strength of the human spirit. It was the beginning of a story that would weave the complexities of life, love, and the unwavering pursuit of happiness. The dawn of the new year did not bring any joy to Anna and her children. They wandered through the icy streets with an icy wind biting their cheeks, a stark contrast to the warmth and safety of their old home. Anna's mind churned with thoughts of shelter and survival. He knew he had to find a refuge, however modest, his children. Their search led them to a small, run-down apartment on the outskirts of town. The place was cramped and cold, peeling paint and squeaky floorboards, but it was still a refuge. Anna used her last savings to pay the rent. The room was sparsely furnished, with just enough space for a small bed that everyone shared, and a rickety table that wobbled on its uneven legs. Determined to support Lily and Jack, Anna took several jobs. She worked tirelessly, from cleaning houses to waiting tables at a local restaurant. His days were long and exhausting, but he never complained. Every night she returned to the apartment with a tired smile, hiding her fatigue as she prepared a simple meal for her children. Lily and Jack, aware of their mother's difficulties, did their best to help, taking on small tasks and looking out for each other. Meanwhile, Maxim's life took another direction. The revelation of his affair and his subsequent actions became the talk of the town. His once thriving business began to suffer as customers walked away, disturbed by his personal scandal. Olga, the woman for whom he had risked everything, became distant, and his affection faded as the reality of his situation took hold. Consumed by guilt and the pressures of a world that was crumbling, Maxim found solace in alcohol, sinking deeper and deeper into a pit of despair and self-loathing. Back in their humble abode, Anna and her children found strength in each other. Their situation, although difficult, brought them closer together. Children, adjusting to their new life, learned the value of hard work and endurance. They saw their mother as a pillar of strength, beacon of hope in their stormy world. Anna, in turn, drew courage from the smiles of her children, whose love and understanding fueled her determination. As the months passed, Anna's relentless efforts began to bear fruit. She saved enough to enroll Lily and Jack in a local school. The children, bright and eager to learn, embraced their education with enthusiasm, and their academic success brought a ray of joy to their otherwise tough lives. In the midst of their struggles, a feeling of unity and purpose emerged within the small family. They learned to find happiness in the smallest things: a shared meal, a game of cards, or reading a story. Under the dim light of her room, her laughter, once lost, slowly returned, filling the small apartment with echoes of hope and resistance. The chapter of their lives, marked by the fight for survival, was harsh and unforgiving, but it was also a testament to the unbreakable strength of a mother's love and the extraordinary resilience of the human spirit. Anna and her children, faced with adversity, gradually paved the way toward a future that, although uncertain, held the promise of new beginnings and brighter days. While Anna and her children gradually adapted to their new life, Maxim's world was falling apart at an alarming rate. His once successful business was now on the brink of collapse. The clients he had spent years building relationships with were now turning their backs on him, repulsed by the scandal that had tarnished their reputation. His financial stability was crumbling like a house of cards, leaving him in a quagmire of debt and despair. A luxurious house, luxury cars, and extravagant lifestyle that Maxim and Olga had enjoyed were now things of the past. Used creditors were knocking on his door day and night, and legal notices were piling up in his mailbox. The strain of financial ruin took its toll on Olga's affection for Maxim. The love story, which had once seemed so exciting in the secrecy of the night, was now withering under the harsh light of reality. She abandoned him, seeking refuge in the comfort of a more stable life, leaving Maxim alone to face the consequences of his actions. In a desperate attempt to save what was left of his dignity and his life, Maxim went to his mother for help, but the meeting was far from what he expected. His mother, a stern woman with strong principles, was deeply hurt by how Maxim had treated her family. She had always been proud of her achievements, but now she felt only disappointment, and shamefully refused to offer him financial help, stating that it was time for her to face the consequences of her actions and learn from her mistakes. Now completely alone, Maxim is forced to face the reality of his situation. His house was seized, and his possessions auctioned to cover his debt. He found himself wandering the streets, the same streets that Anna and her children had once walked through, in despair. The bitter irony of his circumstances was not lost on him. He sought solace in alcohol, but it only offered a temporary escape from the guilt and remorse that gnawed at his soul. Maxim's fall was not only financial, but it meant the total collapse of everything he previously held dear. His family, his home, his business, everything was gone, leaving him a shadow of the man he once was. In his darkest moments, he realized how his decisions had led him to this point. The love and trust he had betrayed, family he had abandoned, all these memories haunted him, constant reminder of what he had lost. As Maxim wandered aimlessly through the city, his thoughts often turned to Anna and his children. He wondered how they were. They missed him or hated him for what he had done. Thinking about his suffering for his actions filled him with an overwhelming feeling of regret. Maxim learned the hard lessons of arrogance and recklessness. Their journey was painful, path littered with broken dreams and lost opportunities. It was a stark contrast to the life Anna was building with her children. A life of resilience, hope, and the strength of the love of a family. Maxim's story was a testament to the consequences of one's actions and the price of betrayal. A lesson learned too late in a life that had once been very promising. As Maxime dealt with the consequences of his actions, Anna's life slowly took a turn toward hope and healing. Their tireless work and dedication had begun to bear fruit in 2021. Although life was still a struggle, she managed to maintain a stable and loving home for Lily and Jack. Children, now more settled and performing well in school, brought home rays of joy and pride that illuminated Anna's world. It was during this time of gradual reconstruction that Anna met Alexei, prosperous and kind-hearted man who owned the house where she worked as a cleaner. Alexei was a widower, known in the community for his generosity and kindness. He lived alone in a large, elegantly furnished house, which often seemed too large and empty for one person. Alexei and Anna's paths unexpectedly crossed one morning when she was taking care of the house. Their first interactions were brief and formal, but a mutual respect and understanding soon emerged between them. Alexei was impressed by Anna's work ethic and her ability to maintain a positive attitude despite Faragana's difficulty. Alexei's kindness and interest in her life were a balm for her wounded heart. As the weeks turned into months, their relationship evolved from employer-employee to friends and then subtly to something more. They felt comfortable and happy in each other's company. Alexei often asked Anna to stay for coffee when he finished his work, and they would talk for hours, sharing stories of their lives, hopes, and their sorrows. Alexei grew fond of Lily and Jack, treating them with a warmth and affection that filled a void in their lives. He sometimes joined them on their weekend outings, and the children came to see him as a friend or mentor. For Anna, seeing her children happy and laughing was a gift she deeply appreciated. Their blossoming relationship was a source of strength and happiness for Anna. Alexei's presence gave him a sense of security and company he had not felt in years. He supported her not only emotionally, but also in small practical ways, like helping Lily and Jack with their school projects or fixing things in her apartment. Love, a concept that Anna had almost forgotten, gradually returned to her life. She looked forward to the days she spent at Alexei's house, not just for work, but the moments they spent together. In Alexei, she found a listening ear, a shared laugh, connection based on mutual respect and understanding. For Alexei, Anna and her children brought life and laughter back to their home. He was happy with his simplicity and the authenticity of his affection. The loneliness he had been immersed in now seemed like a distant memory in Anna's life. It was about new beginnings and the unexpected paths life can take. It was a testament that even in the darkest moments there can be light, hope, and the chance for love to blossom again. Anna's journey, marked by resilience and courage, leads her to a new chapter in which happiness is no longer just a distant dream, but a growing reality. While Anne's life was gradually illuminated with the warmth of a new love, Maxim's existence continued to spiral into a vortex of despair and self-destruction. The once successful businessman, now a shadow of his former self, wandered the streets. His days and nights blended into a continuous loop of remorse and drunkenness. The harsh winter had arrived, and with it a cruel twist of fate for Maxim. He fell seriously ill as a result of his prolonged abuse of alcohol and neglect of his health. Admitted to a dilapidated public hospital, he lay in a small, austere room, a world away from the luxuries of his past life. 2000 died. It was in that moment of vulnerability and loneliness that he was diagnosed with a life-threatening illness. The doctors were clear without an expensive operation. His chances of survival were slim. In a moment of clarity, in the midst of his tormented thoughts, Maxim realized the magnitude of his fall. He was alone, abandoned by those he had considered friends and allies, and now faced the grim prospect of his death. 2009, in a desperate attempt to get help, sought out the only person she thought might still care: Anna. Anna, whose life kept moving forward, received the shocking news of Maxim's illness with a confusion of emotion. Anger, bitterness, and memories of pain resurfaced. But so did the remnants of a love that had once been deep and real. She was torn between the impulse to distance herself from the man who had caused her so much harm and the innate compassion that made her who she was. After much consideration, Anna made a decision that reflected the true magnitude of her strength and forgiveness. She decided to help Maxim, not for him, for the history they shared, for the sake of their children. He managed to raise enough money with Alexei's discreet support and sent it for Maxim's operation. The operation was a success, but Maxim's recovery was slow and complicated by his deep depression continued dependence on alcohol. He had been given a second chance at life. The demons of his past and the weight of his guilt, a heavy companion. He found himself unable to escape the spiral of self-pity and remorse, unable to grasp the lifeline that had been thrown to him. Maxim's illness and the subsequent operation did not serve to change his trajectory. He was still a broken man, tormented by the decisions he had made and the family he had lost. His life, which had been so promising, was now a cautionary tale about the wasted potential and destructive power, pride and selfishness. For Anna, the act of helping Maxim represented closure, a way to put an end to the lingering shadows of her past. It allowed her to move forward with a clear conscience, focusing on the life she was building with Alexei, a life full of love, stability, and the laughter of her children. Maxim's death contrasts with the new chapter of Anna's life. It was a reminder that life is a tapestry of choices and consequences, and that redemption, although possible, requires not only the forgiveness of others, the courage of forgiving oneself, and the strength to change paths. The final chapter of Anna's journey begins with a sense of peace and contentment, in stark contrast to the tumultuous events of her past. With Maxim's tragic death, a chapter of his life closed, and Anna reflected on the resistance he had shown in the face of adversity. The time had come for Anna, her children, and Alexei to embrace a future full of hope and happiness. The relationship between Anna and Alexei had strengthened with the passing of the days. Their bond, forged in the fire of mutual respect and genuine affection, had blossomed into a deep and lasting love. Alexei had proposed to Anna, and she, with joy in her heart and the blessing of Lily and Jack, had accepted. The wedding was a simple but beautiful ceremony, attended by close friends and family. It was a celebration of love, new beginnings, and the triumph of the human spirit over life's difficulties. Lily and Jack, now thriving in their new surroundings, accepted Alexei as part of their family. He was not only a father figure to them, but a source of guidance, support, and unconditional love. Together, they built a life full of laughter, learning, and love, a stark contrast to the uncertainty and despair that once clouded their lives. Anna's hard work and determination had paid off in more ways than one. Not only had she managed to provide a stable and loving home for her children, but she had also felt personally fulfilled. With Alexei's support, she had enrolled in night courses and was now preparing to earn a degree in education, a dream she had long harbored, never thought possible. The children, inspired by their mother's resilience and strength, excelled in their studies and activities. Lily showed a great interest in art, and her paintings reflected the beauty and optimism of her new life. Jack, for his part, enjoyed sports, and his natural athleticism shined through. Once a symbol of their struggle, Zweitausendine was now a haven of warmth and happiness. The walls, once bare and echoing with the sounds of their hardships, were now adorned with family photos, Lily's artwork, and shelves filled with books and memorabilia. Laughter and love resonated in every corner as a testament to the family's journey from despair to hope. As for Maxim, he remained a memory, a reminiscence of a past that had shaped them, but no longer defined them. Anna had forgiven him, not for him, but for his peace of mind. It was a forgiveness born of strength, not weakness, the decision to leave the past behind and embrace the future. The story of Anna, Alexei, and the children did not end with a dramatic climax, but with a quiet and deep joy. It was the story of a woman who faced the worst that life could offer and came out stronger. The story of a family that found happiness in others. A story about the power of love, forgiveness, and second chances in this final chapter. As Anna looked out the window of her house, watching Lily and Jack playing with Alexei in the garden, a feeling of gratitude filled her heart. Life had come full circle, and although the journey had been filled with pain and loss, it had also been a journey of growth, love, and newfound happiness. This was their happy ending, a testament to the enduring power of hope and the unbreakable spirit of the human heart.